Alright, Jody. So here's my final video to tell you what I learned, how I feel, what I see, how this class has affected me. So here we go. First, I'd like to say thank you for teaching this class. I've never had a class challenge me so much, make me think so much. I've never had a class frustrate me so much. I've never had a class make me think all week long. There's a lot of firsts that this class have done for me, so congratulations. Your class created a lot of firsts. The first thing I'd like to talk about is white privilege. In my 23 and a half years of life, I have never knowingly experienced white privilege. Maybe that's because I've never lived a day in the shoes of another race. Maybe because I didn't have somebody sitting there pointing out white privilege to me as I grew up. So for me, white privilege is hard to understand. I've never been in a situation where I thought, oh, that's my white privilege. Maybe it's because of where I grew up, Northern California, pretty white space. I had friends of color. I played sports with people of color. I went to school with people of color. But I never firsthand was in a situation where I felt that I had a white privilege. So maybe if I was better educated on it, maybe if I was able to point out my white privilege, then I'd be able to identify it better. But to this day, I don't see my white privilege. Another thing I want to talk about is the segregation in this country right now. I feel that our country is completely segregated, and it's been created by politics. It's been created by media. It's been created by the people. We have a movement, Black Lives Matter, that is created around one race. How can you create a movement like that and say it's not going to segregate this country? And I'm not saying that Black lives don't matter. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying all lives matter. All races matter. I just don't understand how you can create one race. You could create a movement around one race. It's segregating us. I don't understand how you can create a month around one race. Morgan Freeman said it best when asked what he thought about about Black History Month. He said it's ridiculous. He said, "How can you confine my history to 1 month? Black history is American history." But you don't see it. You don't see months for other races. You don't see Native American History Month. You don't see Hispanic History Month. You don't see Jewish History Month. I I don't I just don't understand how by creating a movement or a month or a party around one race isn't going to segregate this country. So, it's something that has been going on basically this whole semester and for the last couple of years. And it's just been hard for me to understand why can't it just be that all lives matter, you know? So, and one thing, another thing that I want to point out is higher education and campuses. Obviously, they want higher education to, the campuses for higher education to be diverse. I want to go to school with people of other races, ethnicities, sexualities, genders. I don't want to go to an all-white school with straight males. It'd be boring, That's not where I want to go to school at. But I don't feel that saving seats in classrooms is the way to do it. I don't I don't think that's where it should start. It shouldn't start in higher education. It should start in the youth. I think when schools view applications, it should be completely blind. I think your race shouldn't be in it. I don't think your name should be in it. I don't think your gender should be in it. I think it should be strictly your academic accomplishments. And if a college were to find out that, well, this is how we're doing it, and there's nobody of race really in our school, start with the youth. Start with kids in elementary school, middle school, high school. Show them the importance of going to school. Show them that getting a higher education is important. I think that's where it needs to start. Don't start it in the college. Start it before these kids even get close to it. ending, and so my ending thing is that I want to talk about is what solutions I think would work in our society, and I came up with two of them. One of them is I think that interracial dating, interracial marriage, and interracial offspring is a huge, huge, huge solution to ending racism in our country. People are afraid of what other people are going to think of them. Oh, dating somebody of another race. What's my family going to think? Who cares? They make you happy. Date them, marry them, have kids with them. You know, I think having half Hispanic, half black kids, or half white, half Asian kids running around is what's going to end racism in this country. If we get to the point where we're all mixed breeds and mixed races, and how can you be racist if everybody's got a little bit of everything in them? So the other solution that I had was make people of color and non-color work together. You know, make them depend on each other. I don't care what stereotypes you have on somebody of another race, how you view them, what you think of them. If you are forced to depend on that person and forced to work side by side with that person, those stereotypes and how you perceive that person are going to go away. One gentleman said it's best. Michael Whaley, he's a former Marine, all over YouTube. He said it best. He goes, "How come we can't be like the military? We don't see color." When you don't care what race the guy is next to you or what ethnicity is. All you care is that he's got your back and you got his back. So I completely agree with that. I think by having people work together, we're slowly, racism's slowly going to dissolve. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen in 20 years. I'm not saying it's going to happen in 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I don't know when it's going to happen. I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't even have predictions of when it can happen. But segregating ourselves through movements, through parties, through, politics, through media, it doesn't help. And I think, we're going through so much segregation right now in our country, and it really hurts. It scares me. It scares me about what my children are going to go through one day. I don't want my children to grow up in a segregated society. So, my biggest thing in life is I respect all people, no matter who they are, what their race is, their sexuality. You respect me, I respect you. And I'm not going to say that I'm colorblind, because nobody's colorblind. But I can say that I don't care what race people are. I don't care what ethnicity people are. So, thanks, Jody.